And what you said to him is, you are holding a gun. Whose gun was it? J Rose, you sound like a prosecutor, man.
Hello everybody, and welcome back to Around the Association. Well, everything's on track now for Ja Morant to rejoin the Memphis Grizzlies. He actually had a meeting with Adam Silver and discussed next steps. He was suspended for 8 games, of which he's already served 6 of those games, so he was down to 2. They played 1, so now he's down to 1 game. He can return to the team Monday, according to the league. And that's good news if you're Memphis Grizzlies fans, still trying to lock in that number 2 spot behind Denver. But Ja also did a sit down with Jalen Rose, of which it was kind of received lukewarm from fans alike, just because of the line of questioning, and some specific questions caught the wind of a Memphis OG that has not really appreciated how the national media has portrayed Ja Morant. Let's play a little clip of this and then we'll get his response. Take a listen here.
You at the spot, Shotgun Willie's. You are holding a gun. And we both know how dangerous that can be. Whose gun were you holding?
And with that question right there, the internet kind of lit up in regards to, hey, Jalen, what kind of questions is that, man? Whose gun are you holding? That didn't seem like a proper question, is what the streets are saying. Now, one Memphis OG, Doc Holliday, he actually is a sportscaster, works in Memphis area, but he grew up, born and raised in the Memphis area, so he knows Memphis like the back of his hand. So he actually, has been very defensive for Ja Morant with the way the national media has handled him. And this is what he had to say, firing back at Jalen Rose.
You sound like a prosecutor. You trying to get Ja to admit that he actually indeed was holding the gun and trying to tell him who gun it was? Trying to get him to incriminate himself, man. Now, I'm glad he sat down and gave an interview, and I know Ja gonna be okay, but are you a prosecutor, J Rose? Seriously, man. I mean, I haven't seen the whole video yet, so I'm only responding to the little clip that you put out. But J Rose, you are holding a gun. Whose gun was it? You sound like you were in a court of law, man, not a journalist doing an interview, to be honest with you.
And I mean, that wasn't the only one Doc Holliday actually had issue with. One Mike Wilbon from ESPN as well, PTI, NBA Countdown. He actually, had some words for Ja, and he wasn't as, I don't want to say, he wasn't as nurturing with how he felt about Ja's response and sit down with Jalen. This is what Mike Wilbon had to say.
I'm not in a permissive mood. I understand we get paid to talk about and react to every one of these steps along the way. That's our job, and we're going to do that. But I don't care about what he says right now. When I say I don't care, I want to hear it, but that's not what it's going to be judged on. What's he going to do about his posse and the people that he may have to? Jalen talked about this 2 weeks ago. What's he going to do about the people that you have to divorce yourself from and say, out? You're out the door now. What's he going to do to express he understands that obligation? Do, not talk. What's he gonna? How's he gonna change his behavior? What is that gonna be like? Who's he gonna listen to? When you are 23 years old, you need to have somebody else to listen to, and that is also incumbent upon the Memphis Grizzlies. I understand that Adam Silver is not a hanging judge, like his predecessor might have been. And that's fine, because the league has worked just fine under Adam Silver as well. But I want to see what the behavior is, man. What's the behavior going forward? I don't want to hear contrition. Everybody expresses contrition. Who doesn't express contrition? Who's going to roll up into the commissioner's office and say, I ain't into being contrite? Everybody's going to express contrition. I'm sorry, remorse. I got that. Come on, you ain't the only one been 23. Believe it or not, all the people on this set have been 23 and done some things we'd like to have back. And we express contrition. What now? What are you going to do? You just lost $700,000 in pay, in salary. What about the money from the soft drink that was supposed to launch? What about the money from Nike that was supposed to launch with those shoes? What about the kids who look up to you? You're like a Pied Piper. There's real intellect and charisma in Ja Morant. Do you feel that responsibility? I don't want to hear it. I want to see it.
So again, that's Mike Wilbon. Didn't sound like he was, much for putting his hand on Ja Morant back, and he doesn't take much to lip service in regards to being contrite, getting help, improving. He wants to see action. Well, again, Doc Holliday, Mr. Memphis, he came to the rescue, and he actually had something to say back to Mike Wilbon. Take a listen.
So Michael Wilbon, I just listened to your whole soliloquy that you went on ESPN Sports Center talking about Ja Morant, saying you don't care what he says, you want to hear action. Well, he apologized. He went to counseling. He suspended 8 games without pay, but you said you don't care about what he has to say right now. You want to see actions. Now, had Ja not said anything, you would have lit into him about that. I don't care what he has to say. He's 23 years old, man. And you called his friends posse. You called his friends, he needs to get rid of his posse. That's what you said. I got a question for you, Michael Wilbon, and anybody else that talks about his quote unquote posse. How many of them ever been arrested? How many of them you see in the news? Just because somebody is doing immature things, that doesn't make them a posse. Because that denotes criminal activity and just a low moral standard and violence when you say posse. His friends, who may be who needs to grow up as much as he needs to, but you call him a posse? When have they been in trouble with the law? I'm here in Memphis. I ain't never seen any of them get arrested. I ain't never seen or heard about them doing anything like that, like crazy out in the streets. You call them a posse. But you're judging a 23-year-old young man who needs to grow up, which I'm almost 50 and I still need to grow up in a lot of ways. But you said you don't care what he has to say. You want to see actions. He's speaking. He apologized. He's taking steps to get better. But you said you don't care. And you're supposed to be an elder statesman.
So let me know what you guys think, man. Ja Morant can be back with the Memphis Grizzlies actually as early as Monday, because he got an 8-game suspension, which includes the 6 games he's already missed. And there's only, they played a game last night without him. And now we're at a place where he's only 1 game away from being able to return. So let me know what you think, man. Hopefully Ja Morant changes his circle and the circle around him actually change their behavior and become more protective. Because I'm from an era where if you got talent, known talent, especially with basketball, football, something people can see, and even educationally, they see, oh, that's a smart kid. Like around, like people that were into bad things, they'd be like, nah, not him. Leave him alone. How can I help you? If anything, they would give him a few dollars, kind of help push him away, push him along the way. But some people are just along for the ride, and that's true too. Let me know what you think in the comments, man. Be sure to like and subscribe. I'ma holler at you later. Peace.